You all have sunk the Democratic Party. Trump is going to get in office, and he's going to do massive deportation, just like he did the first time he was in office, and nothing would be finer because Americans want their country back.
That's a member of the public speaking to a City of Chicago City Council committee about the migrant issue. That's obviously going to be a massive issue heading into the November election, and the impacts of the taxpayers subsidizing healthcare, education, housing, food, even legal assistance for non-citizen migrants coming to the country, being transported from Texas. And in particular, you have Texas Governor Greg Abbott indicating that more are going to be transported to sanctuary cities like Chicago, especially heading into the Democratic National Convention, which is August. So taxpayers in the state of Illinois already paying $1 billion plus, $1 billion more could be on the hook, but they're not budgeted for any potential surge, and that was something revealed earlier on this week at a committee hearing with the city of Chicago. And of course, this story just continues to develop more and more, and showing images of the Texas National Guard with non-citizen migrants being rounded up. But Chicago may have thousands of additional migrants arriving before the end of the summer. Story Jim Talamonte with the Center Square put together here, saying government officials have not budgeted for this major surge. So last week at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, Governor Abbott from Texas promised that he was going to be continuing to bus migrants to sanctuary cities until the U.S. border is secure. During a Chicago City Council meeting on immigrant and refugee rights Tuesday, Budget Director Annette Guzman shared some statistics and really laid out how the city's not prepared. They have not budgeted properly for any additional surge from the southern border being shipped to cities like Chicago.
The funding surplus or salvage that we accrue over the course of this mission will go towards the planning that we are currently doing to support the surge that we fully anticipate will happen in the coming weeks. We heard it ourselves during the Republican National Convention from the governor of Texas himself. He is planning to send buses to the city of Chicago, irrespective of the fact that we have a bus ordinance, irrespective that municipalities throughout the Illinois region close to the city of Chicago also have bus ordinances. And so that surge isn't currently funded, but we anticipate working with our state and county and partners that the salvage that we are accruing right now will be able to cover the surge that we anticipate happening in a couple of weeks.
Just curious, given that the expected surge that I believe was budgeted for.
No, the surge was not budgeted for.
My understanding when we went through these conversations was that there was an expectation that over the summer we would need more capacity, and that was baked in to the budget. So help me out here.
No, so the surge that we anticipated is above and beyond the model that the state, county, and the city put together. So early this year, we came up with a model of 15,000, 13,000, 7,000 beds over the course of 2024 to follow what we thought was going to be the trajectory of the number of new arrivals coming to the city. And that's what the budget was based on. We have anticipated through discussions with people at the border, also what we see happening at the border, and the comments made by the governor of Texas that we would need upwards of 25,000 beds. And so the delta between the 15 and the 25 is the surge, and that was not accounted for in the budget.
Right, but we're a third of even where we were budgeting in, right?
Right. So we have shelter capacity with open beds because of what was budgeted for. And that would be, let's say we did see a sudden surge. I think we'd go to those beds first. When those are maxed out, then we've built out like an additional 9,000 beds. 5,000 that would be city run, and then another 4 that would be state and county potentially. That's what the additional funding is for.
And I should just say, again, there's no coordination with the state of Texas, but at our height in October, November, December, we were seeing arrivals of about 2,000 a week. So if you can imagine, if you receive the same amount in the next few weeks, how quickly those 5,000 beds would go, that we currently have, actually less than 5,000 beds, and the need for additional beds on top of that.
So clearly, the city of Chicago has not anticipated a 10,000 person surge that they expect could be what heads towards Chicago just before the Democratic National Convention, and what that means for capacity at shelters they already have in place, and so on. During that same committee hearing, there were public speakers. Some spoke about the need for more bilingual workers. Some spoke about the need for more work permitting. Others discussed the eviction process, advocating one way or the other. But you also had several members of the black community get up, one wearing a Make America Great Again hat, another one, I believe this is Jessica Jackson, speaking to the committee, how she says that the community is fed up with what's happening.
You all have sunk the Democratic Party. Trump is going to get in office, and he's going to do massive deportation, just like he did the first time he was in office, and nothing would be finer because Americans want their country back. Americans are not interested in turning over all our tax dollars, our hard work, to a bunch of illegal immigrants, for which most of them are extremely ungrateful. They're disrespectful. They act like we got to answer to them. But Trump gonna straighten it all out because we told y'all to stop this illegal immigration, and you let Rosa cheat the whole city, and you'd be surprised how many people around the town talk about Rosa and what he did and block that sanctuary city vote. And then he gets to parlay in here like he the man. He then cost all of y'all your seats. Federal and locally, we're going to get you too.
So
watch that.
Again, that's a citizen addressing the council, saying that she believes Trump is going to get in, and also blasting city officials for blocking a non-binding resolution that voters could have had a chance to voice their thoughts on whether or not Chicago should remain a sanctuary city, a welcoming city, and whether the state has the Trust Act. We've talked about this as well. If Trump does get elected, the state has the Trust Act, which prevents local and state police from assisting in enforcing immigration detainers if that's the sole thing against somebody. Now, if they're picked up on drunk driving, or if they're picked up on any other crime, then they can assist in that, I think, if I look back at some of the language of the Trust Act. But if it's solely for an immigration detainer issued by the government, then local and state police in Illinois won't assist in that. And how that impacts everything, of course, that's what some would see as a sanctuary state policy. But Professor Jason Hill from DePaul University, a migrant from Jamaica, he said that this current situation is very tumultuous, and it's because of bad policies and bad focus and priorities that leaders in this space are the track they're taking on this.
Our infrastructures are being taxed when you have in certain states, welfare benefits being given to migrants that are being deprived of, I would call foundational Americans who have been here, who were born and raised here. There is an asymmetry and something ethically untenable about that state of affairs.
Clearly, a lot more to be said about this, especially heading into the November election. You've got Donald Trump, the Republican candidate, who has clearly made this an issue all throughout. Even in 2016 when he ran, this was an issue that he made. So now, after 3.5 years of Biden-Harris policies at the southern U.S. border, now looking to Harris being the presumptive nominee until the DNC actually gives their grace there. She's going to have a lot to answer for when it comes to the open border policies Republicans are critical of. So a lot more to come here on this issue. Of course, it drives taxpayer spending with subsidies going to health care, to housing, school, food, legal assistance, and more. The taxpayer cost continues to mount. Will it be an issue that are on voters' minds when they head to the polls? We'll see. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell here with America's Talking Network.